So, apparently Netflix has just stumbled into a full-blown mess with Meghan Markle, and it's somehow even worse than that wild pregnancy video she dropped months ago. Like, just when you thought things couldn't get more chaotic, Meghan decides to go off script, literally. And now the whole Netflix team is in panic mode. And no, this isn't about a storyline or a character arc. It's about real footage, real drama, and a whole lot of behind-the-scenes secrets that were never supposed to see the light of day. It all started when Meghan was given some creative power for season 2 of her show with Love Meghan. Netflix gave her an office, a team, and the freedom to pitch content. But what they didn't know is that she was quietly cooking up something entirely separate. Her own little social media empire built around shock value. Think dancing in the kitchen with a bunch of pregnant women to rap music, kind of shock value. And no, that's not a joke. She filmed it. Here's the thing. Netflix executives had already made it clear they weren't here for another publicity circus. After the backlash from her last viral stunt, they wanted control. But Meghan, she wanted virality. So instead of following the script, she went rogue. While production on the show kept facing delay after delay, she secretly planned and filmed a bunch of attention-grabbing videos with her pregnant friends. One was in the kitchen, the other was out on the beach. Same vibe, same energy, all filmed with the intent of blowing up on Instagram. She was setting the stage for a second wave of viral madness, thinking, if the pregnancy video worked once, why not try to double the impact? But here's where it gets messy, eh? Netflix didn't even know these videos existed until they cleared out her office. That's when they found the real storyboards, notes, and full breakdowns of her campaign strategy, all done without executive approval. And apparently she wasn't just trying to push these clips online. She had actually planned to sneak them into the show itself. Like these weren't throwaway IG reels. These were part of her master plan to merge her reality with Netflix's platform and essentially turn her social media drama into canon. Now Netflix is furious, and we're talking top-level outrage here. Both co-CEOs, Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos, got involved. And that's rare. When these two actually agree on something, you know it's serious. They shut it down immediately. Legal got involved. The footage was blocked from being edited or posted anywhere. They even went as far as threatening legal action to make sure she didn't upload anything behind their backs. That's how serious this got. And Meghan, she's not backing down. Word is she feels betrayed. Like Netflix gave her creative power, and now they're micromanaging her every move. She's even reportedly threatening to take legal action once her contract ends in September. She thinks the company violated her rights by stepping in like this. Meanwhile, the executives are just trying to keep the brand from becoming the punchline of another Meghan Markle circus. What's really wild is how this whole thing exposed the real reason Meghan's time in Hollywood is running out. She's not just unpredictable, she's burning bridges in real time. Amazon, Paramount, Disney, none of them want to touch her anymore. This Netflix deal was her last real shot at mainstream relevance. And now, even that's looking shaky. The real kicker here isn't just that Meghan filmed these videos in secret. It's how calculated the whole thing was. According to sources close to production, she had mapped out the entire campaign like a military operation. She had scheduled release windows for each video, picked the songs, timed everything to coordinate with teaser clips from the show, and even roped in a few influencers to repost the content when it dropped. This wasn't some random whim. It was a full-blown social media ambush designed to force Netflix's hand. If the clips went viral before the show aired, it would have made it harder for the execs to backpedal. But what Meghan didn't anticipate was how hard Netflix was willing to push back. Once they saw the storyboards and the raw footage, they didn't just shut it down. They scrubbed the servers. Her office was cleared, her production access was limited, and her legal team was slapped with warning after warning. And that's when Meghan snapped. She felt cornered. People close to her say she genuinely believed Netflix would fold under the pressure, like they needed her more than she needed them. But instead, they treated her like a liability. Behind the scenes, the mood turned icy. Greg Peters, who was already skeptical of giving her creative freedom, felt justified. Ted Sarandos, who initially supported the project, started distancing himself. They both knew this wasn't just about bad PR. It was about protecting the company from looking like it endorsed her tactics. Every move she made was becoming more extreme, more desperate, and the worse it got, the more they began aligning with each other, despite their previous tensions. Meanwhile, Meghan tried spinning the narrative. She told people the footage was harmless, just a fun, creative expression. But let's be real, it wasn't just fun, it was intentionally provocative. Pregnant women dancing to explicit lyrics on the beach in the middle of a family-oriented brand rollout. That's not edgy. That's reckless. And Netflix had every right to be nervous, especially considering the backlash they were still recovering from after that first pregnancy video disaster, which had already triggered subscriber complaints and media mockery. With the fallout growing, Meghan started playing a different card, the legal one. Insiders say she's been working quietly with her team to prepare for a lawsuit once her contract expires. She's not even trying to renegotiate. She wants out, but she wants out on her own terms, and she's aiming to make a spectacle out of it. Her plan: accuse Netflix of creative suppression and breach of trust, frame herself as the visionary who was censored, turn her exit into a movement. But here's where it gets dark. Hollywood's already closing its doors. After flops with other studios, and now this blow-up with Netflix, she's on a shrinking island. And unlike before, she can't count on sympathy to save her. People are tired. Executives see her as a PR risk. Studios are whispering behind the scenes, calling her unmanageable. Even agents are backing off. There's only so many messes one person can cause before the whole town decides they're not worth the headache. And she knows it. That's why she's lashing out. That's why she's trying to build her next empire through viral chaos. Not through storytelling, not through performance, just pure controversy. It's the last tool she has left. Meghan's desperation is starting to show in more ways than one. She's no longer quietly strategizing behind the scenes. She's actively throwing jabs, hinting that Netflix used her for clout and never truly supported her creative vision. Close insiders claim she's already in talks with smaller independent studios and podcast networks trying to sell herself as an unfiltered creative force. But nobody's really biting. The offers she's getting are a far cry from the glossy deals she was once handed. We're talking low-budget web series, podcast gigs with no backing, and PR deals that aren't even worth the ink they're printed on. At this point, she's boxed in. The Meghan Markle brand isn't about elegance or philanthropy anymore. It's chaos. She's known more for what goes wrong around her than anything she actually creates. And the industry is catching on. Even her die-hard fans are starting to quiet down. The glamour's fading. It's no longer about the Duchess breaking barriers. It's about someone who keeps stepping in messes of her own making and blaming the world for the smell. Netflix, on the other hand, is scrambling to clean this up before season 2 drops. They've got editors working overtime trying to salvage what they can from the footage already shot, trimming out anything remotely tied to her pregnant dance saga or other road clips. And let's be clear, they don't want to delay this release any further. Internally, they've committed to a September rollout, which means crunch time is brutal. What was meant to be a soft, stylish continuation of Meghan's lifestyle fantasy has now become a frantic damage control operation. And guess who's quietly thrilled about this implosion? The executives at rival studios, who passed on Meghan's pitches months ago. Word is paramount, and Amazon dodged a bullet. They had internal discussions with her team back in early 2024, and walked away unimpressed. The ideas were thin, the demands were high. One studio even described her approach as Meghan-centered, not audience-centered. Now, watching this Netflix fallout unfold, they feel vindicated. It's confirmation that passing on her wasn't just smart, it was necessary. As for the series itself, with Love, Meghan is now a giant question mark. The marketing team is reportedly scrambling to rework their entire strategy. Originally, they wanted Meghan to be the face of the campaign. Now, they're considering hiding her from the front and focusing on the aesthetic, the fashion, the homes, the generic aspirational vibe. Anything that doesn't include Meghan's actual face. That's how far the brand trust has crumbled. Even the crew on set has been talking. Apparently, morale hit rock bottom during the final reshoots. Staff were on edge. Scripts were being rewritten at the last minute. Scenes were getting pulled entirely. And worst of all, Meghan wasn't showing up on time. Sometimes she wouldn't show up at all, citing creative overwhelm. Directors were furious. Producers were exhausted. The whole thing felt cursed. Now Meghan's final play seems to be a scorched earth exit. Her legal team is drafting statements. She wants to go out with fireworks. If Netflix doesn't release the show the way she wants, she'll spin it into a narrative of oppression, control, and censorship. That's the only move she has left. Turn the public into her jury and make the media her courtroom. But this time, the audience might not be so willing to play along. The tricks are old. The drama is tired. And the industry, it's already moved on. Meghan Markle may have wanted to be a Hollywood powerhouse, but instead she's becoming a cautionary tale. One about ego control, and what happens when you bet your whole brand on shock instead of substance.